Yeah, so I'll be talking about identifying research problem. Okay, right. Can you see my screen now? Let me know if you can't see my screen. All right, so I will start my sharing session. To many of you, I'm not saying 100% of students think about this, but research problem, it could be that you think, oh, it's easy. Research problem is easy. It's just find the problem and that's it. You write on the paper. And it's not as easy as that, right? So identifying research problem, I'm not going to give you the definition like taking a very bookish definition, but research problem itself, you need to understand what is a research problem. Do not get confused with statement of the problem in which what you have written or you are writing in your thesis or proposal, right? So going back to the basic, research problem is a specific issue or gap in the existing knowledge that you aim to address in your research. So there could be more than one research problem, so that depends on what you are investigating and your field. Right. Before I begin into a research problem, I would like to share with all of you from the point of view from a supervisor and also an examiner point of view, what are the things that we look for when we read your section in chapter 1, specifically the statement of the problem. Okay, so when I read as an examiner or as a supervisor, when I read the statement of a problem section, first of all, I will look for a clear statement of research problems. So I will show you in a bit the example of a clear statement of research problems. Okay, because I'm only given like 25 minutes, I have to be quick, right? But you can always ask me questions after this. And when the students present a clear statement of research problem, I will also look for any evidence that the problem is current, relevant, and significant to the study field. Yeah, it needs to be current, relevant, and significant to the study field, or else there's no point of investigating the same topic all over again. For example, yeah, in English language studies or in TESOL field, error analysis used to be a very famous study. Error analysis, where you look at the error in students' writing, in spoken discourse, and so forth. But then again, with the advancement of technology and other factors to be considered in the 21st century, it's no longer a field where people are interested in. It's still relevant to one extent, but then there have been so many findings have been revealed about error analysis in English among ESL learners. All right. Okay, so the problem, I will also look at whether or not the problem is framed based on previous research findings from the recent 5 years. Yeah, that means when you write your statement of the problem in the section of statement of the problem, you can't really give your opinion. That means, let's say a problem is written, or you present a problem that is based on your personal experience as a teacher. So you can do that, but then again, this problem must be supported by previous research findings as well, especially from the recent 5 years, to be on the safe side. And usually at the last paragraph of the statement of the problem section in your thesis or in your proposal, I will look for meaningful gap in the current literature, not just a concise one, because you will have to repeat it again in your chapter 2. Okay, so these are the things that usually examiners look for when we read your statement of the problem section in your thesis or in your proposal. Okay. Right, so I have given I have outlined 2 steps basically in identifying research problem, right? Okay, the first step is to identify a broad problem area. Okay. All right, sorry about the technical glitch. Okay, so the first step is to identify a broad problem area. So how can you begin is, whether you like it or not, you need to start searching for underexplored aspects of or area of concern, conflict or controversy in your study field. For example, many people have been studying and have written many articles on online learning, yeah, due to COVID-19 pandemic. But then again, although the research is considered as overwhelming, there must be some kind of aspects when it comes to online learning and COVID-19 pandemic, learning English and so forth, that is underexplored. So to know that, you need to read a lot and look at the limitation. If you look at the limitation part of a thesis or previous thesis or in any article, there must be a statement where you can find the limitations when that you can consider it as underexplored aspect. All right, so I divide research problem into a practical research problem, and also the second one is theoretical research problem. So to find for a practical research problem, what you can do is to read. Of course, as a PhD student, we need to read a lot, but read with purpose, not just reading and that's it. I close again the book and then tomorrow I'll start again. Okay, always read with a purpose. Okay, so how to look for a practical research problem is you can find from the previous research and reports, right? And the other way, quite interesting way to me, is to talk to people who work in the relevant field or organization. At UTM, we have a TESOL course. So, and I am teaching at TESOL as well. So, what my students can do, those who are taking TESOL, they can talk to the teachers in the field. So teachers who are teaching at the school, whether be it at the primary school, at the secondary school, or teachers teaching at language centers. So they may ask them what are the current issues when it comes to teaching English to secondary school students or primary school students, or teaching English to international students in Malaysia, for example. So again, to get an idea, not necessarily it comes from books, report, and previous research, but you to find a recent research, you can talk to people who are in the industry or in the field. Okay. Right. So these are the things that you can start thinking. If you have not found, you are at the stage that you have not found any research problem, so maybe this can help you. You may focus on the issues with performance or efficiency, processes that could be improved, areas of concern among practitioners, difficulties faced by specific groups of people. Yeah, so these are some of the things that you can think along the line. Okay, so this is the second part where you can also look for theoretical research problem. The previous one is a practical research problem. So now we are looking at the theoretical research problem. So how to find for theoretical research problem, you may look at or you may read existing research, theory, debates on the topic to find a gap in what is currently known about it. I am also doing a research on health communication and also discourse study, discourse analysis to be specific. So, for example, I want to I read about behavior change communication theory. And then I realized that, how can I relate this theory to the vaccination, COVID-19 vaccination uptake in Malaysia? So if I look at the relationship, there's a person's level of education has got to do with the vaccination uptake. So these are the things that you can start jotting down. And that means to start from this point, theoretical research problem, read some kind of theory or existing model and relate it to the current context or situation. So that's the way to do with finding theoretical research problem. The second step in formulating or identifying research problem is to learn more about the problem. I've mentioned to you about many people have done so many research on COVID-19 and online learning. So identify what is already known about the problem and highlight the exact aspect that your research will address. You're not going to do the same research all over again, but like I mentioned earlier, there must be an area which is still understudied. Okay, all right, so to do this, for the second step, you can also look at the context and background of the problem. What does the problem affect? Is it a newly discovered problem or well-established one? What research has already been done? What solutions have been proposed? What are the current debates about the problem and what is missing from this debate? Coming back to the example that I gave you about online learning and COVID-19 and also learning English. So now we have shifted to, again, hybrid learning. So how can we find the relationship between online learning and hybrid learning? What are the differences or something along that line if you are interested in doing a study on the online learning, COVID-19 and teaching English, yeah? All right, so again, it's all about putting down your thoughts on a paper. So you can't just be thinking without having a plan. What's next? What's next? Okay, and when I did my PhD, sometimes the ideas came when I was not on my study or I was not on my study table. Yeah, so it came sometimes when I was cooking, when I was doing something else. Yeah, so that brilliant ideas came during the inappropriate time, unprepared time. So always have, I mean, there's pen all over my house because when I did my PhD, right? So whenever I get a brilliant idea, I would definitely and immediately jot down the idea. Yeah, because sometimes it might not come again. So when you have your precious time, when the brilliant idea comes, so you need to jot down the ideas. Okay. All right, and then the next part is to identify specificity and relevance of the problem. So this one you need to be more specific. What particular time, place, or group of people will you focus on? Which or what aspect you will not be able to tackle? Or what will the consequences be if the problem is not resolved? Okay, I'm going to give you a specific research problem. Okay. All right, I have to stop sharing my slides for it. Okay, I'll be sharing it again. Okay. All right, so it's 3:10 and everybody is sleepy. Am I right? Okay. In Malaysia, it's 3:15 p.m. right, in the noon. So I'll just read it out, yeah? A local non-profit organization focused on alleviating food insecurity has always fundraised from its existing support base. So that is the first sentence. Okay. It lacks understanding of how best to target potential new donors. To be able to continue its work, the organization requires research into more effective fundraising strategies. Okay, based on what I've shown to you just now, can someone pinpoint where is the research problem? If you can identify, is there any research problem? Is there any, what are the other elements you can find from the previous one, the previous slides? Okay, I minimize my screen. Okay, so maybe you can find consequences if the problem is not resolved. Is there any evidence of what research has already been done? What are the current debates of the problem? What is already known? A phenomenon or context that has not been closely studied, contradiction and so forth, or gap. Can you find that elements, all of the elements that we discussed just now here? Anyone? If you are able to pinpoint only one, that's okay. Is there any elements of whatever that we have been discussed just now that you can find in this research problem? Can I have someone? Okay, the clue is, okay, yeah, Hanun. Okay, Hanun lacks understanding of how best. Very good, well done, Hanun. So in research problem, you need to use vocabulary or words that describe a problem. So that is the basic understanding of how you can write research problem. So yes, the answer, if I can, let me enlarge my screen again. Okay, so, okay, it lacks understanding to be able to continue its work in the third sentence. Research into more effective fundraising strategies. So this is quite an important phrase. What are these elements? Okay, so the first sentence starts with the current practice or process that can be improved with regards to the problem that you are investigating. Okay, so you may start your own problem or the way how do you want to organize your paragraph in statement of a problem is to start with the current practice or current context and or process that can be improved. And then you straightly write the specific research problem. And the last sentence is where you can provide the consequence if the problem is not resolved. That means when you write statement of the problem, do not provide all of the historical context and yada yada yada, the model yada yada yada, which is not relevant to the statement of the problem section. Okay, so always be straightforward when you write statement of the problem. So because you tend to write a very lengthy and you provide irrelevant information in statement of the problem section, so sometimes examiners have difficulty to find where exactly the problems that you are trying to investigate. Okay, so just be simple, write straightforward. Okay, so this is the first way you can organize your thoughts when you write a research problem in your statement of the problem section. Okay, there are many other ways as well. So I'm just suggesting one. Right, so this is another good statement of the problem, but this one is based on theoretical research problem. So this one, in the past, I will just read it up. You can scrutinize each element after this. Right. In the past 10 years, the gig economy has become an increasingly important segment of the labor market. So again, this is the current context. Okay, people under 30 are now more likely to engage in freelance arrangements rather than full-time jobs than in the past. Okay, so what is the problem now? So people under 30, they don't want to find full-time jobs, but they want to engage in freelance jobs. Okay, so the rest, you try to scrutinize what are the elements in these two sentences later on, yeah? So I will continue. Okay. The third one is what is already known about the problem. And the final sentence is the gap your study attempts to fulfill or what your study intends to focus. So this is another way of curating or writing your statement of the problem, a paragraph in a statement of the problem. Okay. So this is another example of practical research problem. Again, this one you can identify what are the elements in each sentence. Okay, so the problem statement should frame how you intend to address the problem. The thing with research problem, statement of the problem, research questions, and research aims, it can't be done in isolation. Yeah, so this is what, if you have gone to, if you have undergone proposal defense, sometimes the comments from examiners that I can see is they talked about your research is not aligned. Okay, so what do we mean by your research is not aligned? Is your statement of the problem, research aim, and research questions need to be aligned. So I will show you a figure on that after this. But now, if you have not think about, or if you have already written your research problem, you may think about reorganizing your thoughts again. So how to start is I will always start with providing the overall problem statement. This is not from me. This is taken from a very good source of organizing your thoughts, yeah, especially for writing out research problem, from Miles and Scott. I will provide you the link to the article after this, but you can start thinking about reorganizing your thoughts, especially when you write the statement of problem, by beginning your write up with overall problem statement, and then you have sub problem 1, sub problem 2, and sub problem 3. What is this? Can you understand this? If you can't, never mind, just look at the next slide. So this is a good example of how you can write your problem statement. Okay, so this is the overall problem statement. For example, shortage in the nursing field, current nursing shortage and the need for more nurses in the field, huge problem with this shortage and availability of nurses. The researcher identified the problem to be threefold. So this is a sub-problem 1. So the general problem statement or overall problem statement is shortage in nursing field. So the first sub-problem, which is the first issue, is the education of new nurses, but there is a national shortage of nursing faculty. Right. The second issue is 75% of nursing faculty will attain retirement in 2017. And the third issue with regards to shortage in nursing field is nursing faculty express low job satisfaction. So from one general statement, okay, this author presented in 3 sub-problem. Okay, so you can only have one research problem. No problem with that. That means your study is investigating, for example, is investigating on the shortage in the nursing field. So you just reorganize this using this template. Okay, that's how to start reorganizing your statement of the problem. Okay, so I talked about achieving research alignment just now in a study because that is one of the most common comments, yeah, when I become the assistant chair or the examiner myself, right, and also as a supervisor myself. So one of the most common comments is, where is your research is not aligned. So what do we mean by your research is not aligned? You need to align your research study within these 3 cores. Yeah, which are the first one, statement of the problem, purpose statement, and research questions. I'm not going to dwell more on this, but again, providing you with a template that you can where you can start realign your study. Okay, so I will provide you with an article that talks in detail about this research, achieving research alignment in a study. Okay, so here you list down your problem statement and then purpose statement and research questions. Okay, let's look at the example. So this one talks about job satisfaction. Again, to ensure that all of your sub-problem 1, objective 1, and RQ1 are aligned. So this is the way of doing it. So you start with sub-problem 1, job satisfaction issue. So the first objective of your study, of your research, must be on this one. Examine the issue of job satisfaction. And this is the research question. Same goes to the second and the third one. Okay, so I have highlighted the key issue being investigated here, right? So then only you will be able to ensure that your study is in alignment, right? Okay, so I provide the reference here to get the slides and also the template that I've shared with you. I'll put on the chat window. Right? Any questions? So Dr. Harmi has shared the attendance link. You can fill in the attendance using the link. Right. Any questions related to culminating or identifying research problem?
Yes, doctor, I have a question. May I have a question?
Yeah, may I know who's talking?
Huan Lang Hua.
Ah, okay, Lang Hua.
Yeah. Yes. So because I entered this meeting a little bit late, okay,
Yeah.
so I missed the first half of this topic. So I do have some questions concerning research problem, problem statements and research questions. So actually I cannot distinguish, between these concepts.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
I'll try to explain briefly here because I'm only given like 30 minutes. Okay, for the problem statement, if you can see in your thesis or in your research proposal, there is one section on statement of a problem where there are a few paragraphs. You combine all of the research statement there. Okay, so but then research problem is the problem that you want to investigate. For example, if you look at this slide, can you gauge or can you guess what is the problem? What is the research problem here?
Job satisfaction.
Very good. So that is the research problem. But yeah, yeah. Yes.
Okay, so may I understand it as the research topic?
In general, yes, but it should be it should be based on a problem. It should be based on an issue. It should be an issue. Okay.
Okay.
So that is the research problem. But when it comes to a problem statement, it needs to be written in one sentence at least, like this. The first issue identified as a basis for this study is this question of job satisfaction as experienced by nursing faculty. It's a full sentence. So that is problem statement. But this one is the sub-problem. But if you look at the previous slides, this one, so this is the overall problem statement. So basically to arrange your thoughts within this framework, I would say using this template. So it's easier for you to organize your thoughts when you write problem of statement of the problem. Okay, so and then if you ask me the purpose statement, it comes from the objective that you write in your thesis or in your proposals. And then this is the research question. So that's why when you plan your writing in this manner, then only you will achieve research alignment. So your examiners will not question whether or not your research is aligned or not. All right? Okay. Did I answer your question?
Now I'm a little bit more clear about this, and then so can I understand it as this? So the purpose statements and research questions are based on the problem statements, and they are more specific than the problem statement, right?
Yes. Then only you will achieve research alignment. Okay. This is based on the Miles and Scott school of thoughts. Some supervisors might not agree with this kind of the way you organize your problem statement, purpose statement, and research questions. So again, we need to celebrate the different school of thoughts we have in education. I mean, in knowledge in general. Okay, Lang Hua. Thank you for the question.
Thank you so much, Doctor.
Okay, no problem. Any more question? If you read this article by Miles and Scott, you will be able to, I would say when I found this article, I immediately say, this is a brilliant work, okay? Because sometimes, yeah, we know all the components in the research, in a research or in a research study, but then again, to organize it beautifully, yeah, sometimes that is the most difficult part to be done, yeah, because we write the thesis, or we write your thesis or your proposals in isolation. So when you have this as a framework or the basis of your, when you are about to start writing, then you'll be I think the outcome is great. It's going to be great. Okay, so if you want to download the slides and also Miles and Scott's article, I have put the link there. And in case you you forget after this, just Google my name and go to my website. So that's easier, because I've been thinking how to help the students or the participants when they keep on asking me the link. So I just put it on my website then. All right. Okay. Any more questions? All right. Okay, if you want to watch this recording later on, Dr. Nomi will put up the recording on YouTube, and I think you will find the link from Humanities KL website as well in 1 week. All right. So thank you very much for coming. Thank you very much for asking questions. We'll see you again. Thank you very much. Don't forget to fill in your attendance.